Okay, let's jump right in. The Gateway to the North Shore. That's quite a title, eh?
It really is. Makes you wonder what gives a place that kind of prominent nickname.
Exactly. And today on the deep dive, we're heading up to Minnesota to explore Gooseberry Falls State Park and find out.
Yeah, and we've pulled together some great stuff. We've got info from the DNR, naturally, but also local perspectives from Northern Wilds magazine.
Personal stories from folks on Reddit, which can be quite revealing.
Plus historical deep dives from Mnopedia and CBS Minnesota, some geology background, and even a look at the wildlife.
Right. So our mission today is basically to unpack Gooseberry Falls. We want to get into the history, the main attractions, the stories, really give you a feel for why it's such a must-know spot if you love exploring.
Sounds like a plan. So where do we start peeling back the layers on this gateway? Maybe looking back.
Yeah, I think history is the place to start. The park itself officially opened way back in 1937, but its story goes back much further, obviously. Pretty big now, too, nearly 1,700 acres.
1,687 acres, to be precise. And even the name Gooseberry River has its own interesting backstory, doesn't it?
It does. It seems like it might connect back to both the Anishinaabe name, Shawanemi-Kanisibi, and the French explorer Sieur de Groseilliers.
And the fascinating part is both names, one indigenous, one French, seem to point towards gooseberries. It's like, different people noticing the same thing about the landscape.
That's a great connection, but really a massive moment for the park as we know it was the arrival of the Civilian Conservation Corps, the CCC, in 1934.
Oh, absolutely transformative. The CCC's work at Gooseberry, like in so many parks from that era, was just fundamental. They were there for 7 years, right?
7 years, yeah.
Yeah.
During the Depression, young men building trails, putting up buildings, and constructing that absolutely iconic castle wall.
Ah, the castle wall. If you haven't seen it, it's this amazing 300-foot stone retaining wall and walkway. People sometimes call it Castle in the Park. It really makes an impression.
It totally does. And the style they built in that rustic style or parkitecture is so distinctive.
And deliberately so. They focused on using local materials, which just, fits the place so well. That reddish granite from near Duluth.
And the darker stuff, blue, brown, black granite from East Beaver Bay. Even the logs for timber structures came from nearby, from Cascade River State Park.
It's wild to think they built over 80 structures. Things like a water tower, shelters some still use today, right? Cabins, those sturdy stone steps you see everywhere, fireplaces.
It's incredible. And get this, 88 of those CCC structures are actually on the National Register of Historic Places. Since 1989, that really says something about the craftsmanship.
Definitely. It's a lasting legacy. And their work wasn't just about building. It was about making these amazing natural places accessible for everyone. But like you said, the land had a life before the park.
Right. Before the park idea took hold, things were different. It seems like the big fur trading routes kind of bypassed this specific spot. But later on, late 1800s, early 1900s, people got interested in the trout fishing and definitely the logging. The Nestor Logging Company was active there.
Then came the cars. Early 20th century, automobiles started opening up places like the North Shore for tourism.
Yeah, makes sense. And the highway development was key. Getting Trunk Highway 1, what we call Highway 61, now rerouted in 1925, and building the bridge over the Gooseberry River, that made access way easier.
So people started coming, drawn by the natural beauty, and that led to calls for preservation.
Exactly. The Minnesota legislature authorized preserving the area back in 1933. Initially as a game refuge, actually.
But funding was the issue, right, with the Depression on.
Yeah, no real money until the CCC came along. That really got the ball rolling on creating the park itself.
And the park kept evolving. Much later, in the mid to late 90s, they did a major redesign of the highway access and park entry.
Right, 1996 to 98. That's when the current visitor center and the newer bridge went in.
Yeah.
Adapting to more visitors, I suppose.
Okay, so that sets the stage nicely. But let's talk about the main event, the reason most people pull off Highway 61. The Waterfall?
The Waterfalls, yeah, they are definitely the star attraction, 5 of them along the Gooseberry River.
And they've made it pretty accessible, haven't they?
They really have. There's a 1-mile paved trail, wheelchair accessible, that gets you a great view of the upper falls. Super important for accessibility.
That's great.
And then the most popular route is the Falls Loop. It's only about half a mile round trip from the visitor center, takes you past the upper, middle, and lower falls, uses trails and a few bridges. It's probably the classic Gooseberry experience.
Perfect for a quick, stunning stop.
Yeah.
But if you want a bit more of a hike...
Then you can do the Fifth Falls Trail. That one's longer, about 2 miles, and follows the river further upstream. Offers different views, and you might spot some cool geology like Potholes ground out by water, maybe even small caves.
Ah, the geology. We have to talk about the rocks. These falls are carved into billion-year-old basalt. It's incredible stuff.
Billion years old. Wow. Left over from ancient lava flows.
Exactly. Massive flows during something called the Mid-Continent Rift. Basically, the continent was trying to split apart right here, and huge amounts of lava poured out, layer after layer.
So that's the bedrock. And the stair-step look of the falls comes from how that rock eroded.
Precisely. The tops of the lava flows were often more porous, maybe bubbly with trapped gas compared to the denser interiors. So over time, the water wore away those softer tops faster.
Okay, I see.
And when the basalt cooled, it naturally cracked into columns. You sometimes see those hexagonal shapes. Those cracks also help the water break chunks off, creating the steps.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And I heard the water itself changes color.
Yeah, it can. In spring, with all the snow melt and rain, it picks up a lot of sediment, so it can look kind of muddy, like chocolate milk.
Huh. Chocolate milk falls.
Right. Then in summer, decaying plants in the water release tannins, which can stain the water a translucent brownish color, more like root beer.
Root beer falls. Love it. And how big are these main falls combined?
The drop for the upper, middle, and lower falls together is roughly 90 feet. Pretty significant.
Okay, so waterfalls are the main draw, but there's more to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the picnic flow.
Oh, the picnic flow is fantastic. It's this wide open, rocky area right where the river spills into Lake Superior. Really dramatic meeting of river and lake.
How do you get there?
You can hike down a trail from near the Middle Falls, or if you drive into the campground area, you can get vehicle access near the Lakeview Shelter.
Ah, the Lakeview Shelter, another one of those CCC structures, right? And you can rent it.
Yep, exactly. Great spot for a picnic or even a bigger gathering. And just being down there by the lake on that rocky shoreline, it's powerful.
I bet. And inland. More trails.
Definitely. Miles of trails heading away from the lake through mixed forests. You've got evergreens, aspen, birch. It feels quite different from the immediate falls area.
And you might see remnants of the logging days.
Yeah, keep an eye out for these huge old white pine stumps. They're like ghosts of the forest that used to be there before the logging era.
What about winter? You mentioned the CCC shelters. Is it popular then?
Oh yeah, cross-country skiing is big there. There's an easy 3.3K loop, the Lakeshore Loop, through the campground area with great Lake Superior views.
Sounds lovely.
And for more experienced skiers, there are tougher trails north of Highway 61 that go past the frozen waterfalls, which is just, spectacular.
Wow, I can imagine. And you mentioned the Superior hiking trail.
Right, the SHT passes right through the park, so you can use Gooseberry as a starting point, end point, or just a stop on a much longer backpacking trip.
Good to know. And bikes.
Yep. The paved Gitchigami State Trail connects through the park, too, so cyclists can easily incorporate it into a North Shore ride.
Plus, that Gateway Plaza near the visitor center, with overlooks and signs for kids, seems like they've thought about different ways to engage people.
They really have. Which brings us to, well, the other residents of the park. The nature, the wildlife.
Yeah, what kind of ecosystem are we talking about?
It's part of the North Shore Highlands ecoregion, so think northern hardwoods mixed with conifers, a pretty diverse habitat.
And that supports a good range of animals.
It really does. The park records list over 140 bird species. That's quite a lot.
Wow. Any highlights?
Well, you get nesting herring gulls near the lake, common loons on the water, and because it's on the North Shore Flyway, spring and fall migration can be fantastic for bird watching. Oh, and ravens are pretty common too. Very smart birds.
And mammals?
About 46 species recorded. You know, the usual suspects like white-tailed deer, definitely black bears.
You eat bears often.
You might, especially around dawn or dusk. Gray wolves are in the region too, though less commonly seen right in the park. Moose habitat is nearby, further inland mostly.
Any smaller critters?
Yeah, and interestingly, those little Franklin's ground squirrels you sometimes see, they're actually not native to the area, an introduced species.
Huh. And amphibians, reptiles.
About 10 species documented. Frogs, salamanders, maybe some snakes. It's a healthy little ecosystem.
Any seasonal tips for wildlife viewing?
Winter can be good for spotting deer as they gather. Spring and fall for the migrating birds, as we said. Summer, maybe loons or gulls. And of course, salmon and trout runs in Lake Superior draw anglers and, well, other predators.
Good point. And always the important reminder. Observe from a distance, and please don't feed the animals. It's not good for them.
Crucial reminder, always.
Okay, so if folks listening are thinking, I want to go, what are the practicals? Getting there.
Pretty straightforward. It's right on Highway 61, about 13 miles northeast of Two Harbors. Look for the signs around mile marker 39.
And the visitor center is the place to start.
Definitely. Get your bearings, grab a map, check out the interpretive displays. They really add context. Plus, restrooms, gift shop, the usual.
And that warming house for winter visitors. Sounds cozy.
Yeah, big stone fireplace. Imagine coming in from skiing or snowshoeing to that. Lovely.
Nice touch. Any EV charging?
Yep, 2 free charging stations at the visitor center. Good forward thinking there.
What about staying overnight? Camping?
There are drive-in campsites, most closed for the deep winter, but apparently a few stay open for the very hardy campers.
Hardy is right. And while you can't just pitch a tent anywhere in the state park, no dispersed camping, it is allowed in nearby state and national forests, usually if you follow their rules, like being away from roads and trails.
Good distinction. And for groups, picnics, events.
That Lakeview shelter we mentioned, the CCC one, is rentable. And there's another building, the Lady Slipper Lodge, used for programs, maybe small ceremonies or meetings.
Okay. Now, a really key point, based on what people say online, especially like on Reddit.
Yes. The crowds.
It gets busy, very busy, especially summer weekends and peak fall color season. It's just incredibly popular.
So the advice is, if you want it quieter, try to aim for weekdays. Or maybe the shoulder seasons, late spring, early fall, before peak colors, maybe even winter, if you're prepared.
Sound advice. And always, always be careful around the falls themselves. Those rocks are slippery. Pay attention to where you're walking.
Absolutely. Safety first. You also mentioned caves briefly.
Yeah, minor geological features, some small caves formed during the last ice age in the broader area. Just another layer of the region's history.
It's kind of amazing how the park has grown, too. Started around 600 acres in 1934. Now it's almost triple that, close to 1,700 acres. And drawing, what, 180,000 people a year?
Yeah, around that number. It's clearly a cherished spot.
So wrapping this up, Gooseberry Falls is definitely more than just a quick photo op by the highway, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's steeped in that CCCC street, defined by incredible billion-year-old geology and those stunning waterfalls, and it's buzzing with life within that whole Lake Superior ecosystem.
And it manages to be really accessible while still offering deeper adventures, from those easy paved paths right up to connections with the Superior hiking trail, something for pretty much everyone.
It really does cater to a wide range of explorers.
Which leaves me thinking, when you consider the sheer timescale here, billion-year-old lava, glaciers carving the landscape much more recently, what other stories are maybe locked away in those rocks? What else is waiting to be understood about that place?
That's a great question. It makes you want to look closer, doesn't it? Definitely encourages you to get out there, explore Gooseberry, and maybe dig a little deeper into the natural history of the whole North Shore. There's always more to discover.